So around the time that we are working on our project, there are multiple times that we need to save the settings of the view that we are working on, depending on when we want to use them in our presentation, or we want to use them in animation later on in our project, or we just want to save the temporary view that we might be using them in developing our project. In order to create some sort of save the settings that we create for our viewport, what we have to do is that we'll have to create a new scene. We go to the Window tab, and then under default tray, we turn on the scene. So we click. The scene is going to be on the default tray. We open up that settings, and then here we're going to add the scene by clicking on this one. Underneath here, you see that I have different settings, including, like, for example, if I want to include this, like, for example, this specific view into my animation or not. If I want to save, like, for example, the camera location, the hidden geometry, or any style, or, like, for example, shade and shadow settings that I want to include it in this. If I want to have the axis location, so I can adjust all those things here. Then I will click here, and that's create the first scene right here for me. And I can just down here, go up down here, and then call this perspective 1. Now, let's say, for example, I'm going to go up here and then create a top view out of this. I'm going to zoom in here. Let's write somewhere, zoom out, zoom in. While using the scroll bar, I can just adjust it, or I can use the zoom in, zoom out tool in order to adjust my view. But basically, most of the time, I just use the scroll bar in order to zoom in and zoom out to my object. It's much more easier. Then I can use the pan to bring it to where it was supposed to be. Right now, if you remember, this is like not completely 2D, so we need to go to the camera and then change this to parallel projection. So now it's basically completely a floor plan or top view. Right now it's not a floor plan, it's basically a top view. So now what I can do is that I can just go here and add another scene and call this scene number 2. And here in the scene number 2, I'm going to call this scene, let's say, for example, top view. And that will be all the setting with that. So now you see that I have another tab here. So if I click on this one, it just turned back to where it was before. If I go to the top view, it just switch back to the second one. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go to the front view, and under the front view, since it was like a parallel projection, now it's all 2D. What I'm going to do before moving to any, like, for example, setting, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go to the view. I'm going to change the first style to, like, for example, shaded. So now I have the shaded with the setting. Now if I create a new scene, it asks me if I want to save this as a new style. So I'm going to say yes, save as this as a new style, because this has like a material and everything. And I'm going to create a new scene. What I'm going to call on this one, I'm going to call this one a front view. So now I have 3 sets of view. If I click on the first one, you see the whole style of like a line type and everything changed back to what it was before. So I don't see the texture or color of my object here. Same thing if I go back to scene number 3, and it just show me that the colors go back to the settings that I preferred for this scene. So I'm gonna go here, and then easily after creating it, I just change the name to front.